All right, so what I want to show you right here is what's known as the U.S. debt clock. And so if you look right here, this huge number, this is what trillions look like. This is our current U.S. national debt. So we owe $26.5 trillion to our own citizens and to people who loaned us money across the world. And the reason we are in this kind of debt situation is currently, right now, we are spending $6.2 trillion, but we're only bringing in $2.8 trillion. And so here's our spending, here's what we are bringing in. Here's our spending, and here's what we're bringing in. So our current budget deficit is over $3.4 trillion, is almost $3.4 trillion. So that's why you see this number rising, because we are overspending by so much right now that this number is increasing quite a bit. And one of the problems that we're having is that as our revenue, here's our revenue right here. As our revenue is falling, you see this number is falling because fewer people can afford to pay their taxes right now, and this number is rising. We get into a deficit situation and have to borrow. And if we look at this, our largest items in the U.S. budget are spending, paying our interest on the debt, because if we don't at least pay the interest, we can't pay the debt back, but we can pay the interest. If we don't pay interest, no one will loan us money. So we have to pay our interest, which is almost $4 trillion. And Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Those are income security programs for the elderly and the disabled. We cannot change our spending on these programs unless we change our laws about how these programs are administered. So these items are set in stone. This item is set in stone. Our fourth largest budget item is our spending on defense. It's not nearly as large. It's half of what these other budget items are. And that's the only one we really can reduce. But, I mean, that's $692 billion out of $6 trillion worth of spending. So even if we cut our defense budget down to nothing, we don't make a dent in the deficit or the debt. This is a fascinating look. If you look at this, you can see all sorts of information. Right now, where we are with our debt is if every man, woman, and child in the country would write an $80,000 check, we could pay off the debt. Or if every taxpayer would write a $213,000 check. That would be really nice and get that debt paid off. All sorts of interesting things to look at here, though. Here's what the government owns, how much they own, which I told you we own quite a bit as a government. There's unemployment information in here. There's number of people on food stamps or enrolled in other safety security programs, all sorts of information. So I love showing this debt clock, and this probably gives you a good idea of why economics is called the dismal science. Because this is not good news, and especially not for you guys who are going to have to pay that debt.